Hello, my name is Ed Duke. I'm the owner of Southern Crappie Rods, and I'm going to try to give you a little bit of information about Southern Crappie Rods on this short video. A lot of the questions that's come up when people call me, and I'm going to try to answer them on this video. So hopefully it'll save some of the questions that you have when you open up the website, some information that you'll learn. A little about it, I'm from Concord, North Carolina. I developed these rods, probably this is about the 8th year that we've had it going, and I done it because I just wasn't satisfied with rods. And I wanted to get the best rod I could get out there, the best universal rod. I don't have 15 or 20 different types. I have the best universal rod that an individual can use for tight lining, he can use for trolling, he can use for casting. It's just an all-around rod. I try to get the best price that I can to the fishermen out there. You'll never see any advertising on Southern Crappie Rods. Advertising costs money. If you've heard about it, somebody's told you about it, or you've read some information about it. And it's just strictly word of mouth, and every year it gets more and more people hear about my rods, and more people have questions about it. But as long as I can keep them out there, get a good price to you fishermen, then I think we'll all be happy out there. It's a durable rod. It's a rod made of Kevlar. It's something that when I had it designed, it was brought up to me that I should try this. I was sort of scared about it, but it was the best thing I've ever done, because in my opinion it's turned out to be the best rod on the market today. But we're going to start. We've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, and 16 foot rods. And we're going to go to each rod. I'm going to give you a little bit of information on each rod, so hopefully that'll cure it a little bit. We're going to start with the 6 footers. You know, the 6 footer, it's a cork handle. And generally your smaller rods are used for casting, they're used for jigging. You've got your hands on them longer than if you did on the longer rods with setting a reel seat a long time. And that's why we decided to put the cork handle on it. It just has a little bit better feel. Has 6 eyes. All of our rods have the glass eyes. And actually, it's an acrylic eye. They call them glass, but it is an acrylic eye. It's totally Kevlar. It's one piece. And as far as from the handle goes, the reel seat, if you can see on the thing, I hope so, the total cork part is 13.5 inches. From the back of the reel seat is approximately 7 inches to the back of the rod. From the front of the reel seat is about 3.5 inches to the front of the rod. Once again, and you see this rod doesn't have any kind of finish on it. Whenever I got my first prototype, the enamel finish on them, they look good, but it costs money too. And when they sent me my prototype, when the thing come in with the cork handles and the way it looked, I said, man, it was a fantastic looking rod. I didn't even want it painted, and it just really looks good, and that's why, that can save on the cost on it. But that's my 6 footer. We'll go to the 7 footer, and the 7 footer is basically just like the 6 footer. It's 7 foot, it has 7 eyes, the same glass eyes on it, same composition, totally Kevlar. And the biggest thing we need to look at is the seat. From the rear seat is 8 inches to the back of the reel, to the back of the rod. It is 3.5 inches to the front. And once again, this has 7 glass eyes in it. And the reason we put so many eyes in it, let me clarify this as we go on through this. You get, especially in the feel part of it, as long as you've got as much as that line touching the rod as you can, it gives it more sensitivity, gives it more feel, and it gives it actually more strength and durability when that line, when you put tension on that line, it completely lines up the rod follows all these eyes, that it makes a perfect round. You don't have anything hung out there. And that light bite, you can tell that light bite because you got so much contact from the line to the rod. That's one reason we put so many, or two reasons we put so many eyes on these rods. Let's go to the 8 foot, same thing. 8 foot is the first of our two-piece sections. And one reason we make them like this is simply for, shipping purposes. It just costs so much to ship packages, and it costs so much to ship rods. And anytime a rod reaches that 84-inch in girth, anytime a package, the price gets really high on them. And that's why the shipping on my website, I have a standard $15 fee. And a lot of times, that covers the tube that we have, the handling that we have to package it. But a lot of times the 6-foot rods, the 7-foot rods, and the bigger packages, sometimes they'll go over 84 inches, and most of the time that doubles in shipping. But on the website, it's still the same, $15. But now the 8-footer, has 8 eyes on it, same Kevlar construction. The biggest thing we want to check on that, let's check the reel seat. From the 8 foot to the back, we've got approximately 8.5 inches. And then again to the front, the steel, same part of the cork handle. We have got 3.5 inches to the front. First of a two-piece. Next of a two-piece is probably my favorite, the 9 foot. I love the 9 foots when I'm fishing, my brush piles, and anytime I'm casting or just jigging, stuff like that. My 9 is my favorite. Same construction. The 9 has, 8 eyes just like the rest of them, totally Kevlar. From the back of the seat, back of the reel is 8.5 inches. Now we're going to get a little bit bigger on this. We're going to go 6.5 from the front of the reel and 8.5 to the back on the 9 footers. Let's go to the 10 foot. The 10 foot, and by the way, all my rods are try to design to be a medium to medium light action. And once again, I don't have a light, I don't have a heavy, I don't have a medium. We try to design them. That's the best fishing rod that a man can, long line troll with them, you can jig with them. But anytime, generally these you have, most of them you've got your hands on them a lot. And that's why we do like the cork handles on them. Now the 10 foot, come up with the 10 foot, it has 8 eyes. And same thing, there they go in the floor. We've got 8.5 inches and 6.5, from the back to the front on these. Alright, let's put these back. Now, I think our next one up, let me stand this up a little bit and see if we can find the 12 again. Alright, next one up comes the 12. And that is right here. Now the 12, that's the first one of our EVA handles. And like I said, most of the time when you're tight lining, even when you're long line trolling, very seldom do. A lot of people will jig with them, but most people, they're going to tight line with them, they're going to push with them, they're going to long line troll with them. Now the first one that starts, and the 12 foot's got 13 eyes in it, and it starts the mix of the rods. They're Kevlar rods, but when you start getting that length in them, in order for them to be too limber, we have to mix carbon with them to keep that stiffness in them and to get that sensitivity to move back into the rods with them. So the 12, 14, and the 16 do have a mix of carbon towards the end of them more, to get that, make them stiff and get more sensitivity out of them. The 12 foot back of the reel seat is 9 inches. From the front of the EVA handle to the reel seat is 6.5 inches. Most of you want to know now, these are sitting in the rod holder a lot. What's the total length of it? The total length from the front to the back is 17.5 inches. So you know how much you've got on each side of your reel seat sitting in the rod holders. Let's go to the 14. Alright, 14. Now then, 12 is a 2-piece. That's about as long as we can go on that. If we've done a 14 footer, like I said, we're going to a 7 footer again. And you don't get the strength, I don't think, out of a 2-piece as you do out of a 3-piece. But once again, shipping means everything in the world. The 14 foot is the first of the 3-piece. It still has 13 eyes in it. And the 12, 14, and 16, you know, we do have those. They have the painted finish on it. They're burgundy in color. They're super good rods. A lot of guys ask me, can I get them with the painted tip? Probably could, but like I said, it's a universal rod, and a lot of guys, if you want to paint the tip, you know, more than welcome to paint the tip. It doesn't hurt the rod. But overall length on the 14 footer is, let's measure it out, 20 inches on the 14 footer. Alright, now then, from the front of the EVA handle to the front of the reel seat is 6.5 inches. From the back of the reel seat to the back of the rod handle is 11 inches. And a lot of times, and especially me, the 12, 14, and 16, my rod holders, especially if I'm pushing or if I'm tight lining, I want the reel sitting out in front of the rod holder. That way, it's so much easier just to pick it up and go with it. Now, long line trolling is something that you might get a hold of a big catfish, a big striper or something, you know, and the line's laid straight back. Yeah, we like to lock the reels inside the rod holder, you know, so they won't pull it out. But generally, if you're tight lining, you know, usually when, you know, the fish bite it, they're going to go straight down with it, straight out, something like that. But that's the length, 20 inches total on that. Now let's go to and it has 13 eyes. And now the last one that we have is the 16 footer. You know, the 16 footer is actually more than I want to handle. I do have two that I use for long line trolling. Long line trolling, I'll use a 16, 14, 12 out the front. And I use 2 9s on each side in the back and 2 7s on each side in the back. Some people use a 10, 9, 8, 7, you know, or a 9, 8, 7, 6. Depends on your personal preference. But they're made to stretch out, but I do use them on long line trolling. A lot of guys love them for tight lining. Me, I reckon I'm just getting too old. I just can't handle that 16. 14 is probably the best tight lining rod on the market right now, in my opinion. You know, most guys prefer that. But some guys, you know, they love the 16s. But 16 from front to back is 23 inches. From the front of the EVA handle to the front of the reel seat is 7 inches. From the back of the reel seat to the back is 13.5 inches. So you can pretty well accommodate anything you want to in that. But that's a little bit, I hope that answers a lot of the questions about, you know, how many eyes, you know, what they're made of, you know, the length of them. That's most questions that people ask me on that. But you can always call me, 704-791-0108. That's my cell phone. I have terrible service. I have Verizon, but most people know that. But I just keep calling, and I'll answer any questions I can. And I thank you for looking at this video, and I hope it has helped you.